there's a new rule that is going to go in place that has now been approved by the NCAA. For a long time, if you were going to transfer, you had to sit out for a year before you were able to play at a new school. And if you're anything like me, and you can remember when you were 18 or 19 or 20 years old, a full year it feels like absolutely forever. And now, as you kind of break that down, a full year is gone because the NCAA has approved a new transfer rule which allows everyone out there to go one time as a transfer with no sit-out provision at all. That is, you can go from playing for one school and the next year you can be playing for another one. And now what's intriguing to me about this is there are going to be a lot of guys, and probably girls too, but probably most of the focus is going to be on football and basketball, where the so-called transfer portal is wildly popular now. And we've had exceptions to this rule for a while. You could get a waiver. You could have a hardship granted for NCAA rules to allow you to transfer and play almost immediately. And the big waiver that was always granted was if you graduated in a rapid fashion, you were able in 3 years and still had a year of eligibility left, you were allowed to transfer under the so-called grad transfer rule and play somewhere else. But what's wild about all this is there's this, I think, a little bit of an illusion that there are going to be a lot of available spots. I think what's going to end up happening a lot here is many players are going to think, oh, there's a lot of interest in my skill set, and they are going to go and put their name in the transfer portal. And I think you're starting to see this happen already. And then there's not going to be as much interest potentially in them as they anticipated. I also think this is going to be interesting to follow because is it going to benefit the blue blood programs or is it going to benefit the next tier of programs? Because you can see a situation where if you're a 4 or 5 star recruit and you go to a top school and you're not able to crack the depth chart, where there might be some interest potentially in you going somewhere else. But you can also, I would think, at least, contemplate how this could become an issue where if you go to a team and they're just not very good and you are a stud athlete, that maybe you decide, hey, you know what? I'm tired of playing on this crappy team. And maybe the reason you stayed and played on this crappy team was because you didn't think that you were going to be able to sit out for a year and you didn't want to spend all that time. And now you get the opportunity to leave. I could make you an argument that this is going to be an incredible boon for the biggest and best programs because there's going to be even more demand for opportunities to go play for those programs going forward. At a minimum, what I think it's very clear to say is this starts to shift some of the power away from coaches and creates a bit of perpetual free agency now in college basketball and in college football, the two sports that the largest number of people care about. Because if you can go out there and get 5 or 6 different transfers a year, it allows you to remake your roster on the fly. It also allows you to encourage guys that you may have signed that aren't as good as you anticipated to maybe go ahead and go play at a better level that better suits their overall athletic ability and talents. So I think this is a seismic shift in college athletics that is going to make a 4 or 5 year player much, much rarer. And I think a lot of athletes are going to take advantage of this one-time transfer rule, or at least attempt to take advantage of this one-time transfer rule going forward.